Welcome to the EST Hangout.
This is the EST Hangout, and today's guests are...
And a very good Thursday morning to you. Welcome to the EST Hangout presented by Two Hoots Hard Iced Tea, a Boulder Real Brew Tea. Don't give a hoot, give two. We've got the Two Hoots here.
Of course,
live on location. Matt Iwanyk, Tom Gazzola, Joaquin Gage, live on EdmontonSportsTalk.com, TuneIn, iHeartRadio, as well as those watching on YouTube. We're live at Tommy and mine's amenities floor at our condo downtown. We're just too lazy to start driving into work, so we figured we live in the same spot. Why not just do these things here?
Yeah, the only guy has to drive his knee still. This is ridiculous.
You got free parking.
Yeah, we got the parking spot.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Pass me the Two Hoots then.
You need some Two.
Where's your Two? Where's your cup?
Over
Oh,
here.
you got it? Okay,
Really?
good. There you go.
I'm the only one having coffee.
Well, you're going to the
You
rink
gotta
still.
work.
Yeah, I am.
Let's quickly describe what's going to happen on the Hangout today, because
Yes.
this is what the Hangout is designed for. I will say that right off the bat. Me, Tommy, and Gage will be with you for a little bit. Then Tommy's going to head across the street to the Oilers morning skate. It'll be Gager and I. While it's just Gager and I, we'll talk a lot of Oilers. We'll get your thoughts. Paris Jewelers Inbox, Nasty Chat. We got the hole-in-one contest presented by Golf Town qualifying opportunity. I also do have 2 pairs of tickets to the Elks game tomorrow night to give away, thanks to Century Casino Sports Bar and Lounge. So we'll give those away. And then around 10 o'clock or just after 10 o'clock, Tommy's going to come back, but he's not going to come back alone. Jonathan Torrens.
Yes.
He is going to join us here on the Hangout, live at the amenity floors at the Ultima Condominiums. I don't know if that's still, that's fully in there. It's in the shot. So thank you to Ultima for allowing us to do this. We think we're allowed to do this.
We are. I went and talked to him yesterday. This is awesome.
Yeah, but
you know what's great, Gager, is like he doesn't talk to the concierge staff.
I was
here.
running around.
He just goes
yesterday.
right by them. He's like,
I say hi to them every time I
do. You know their
hi.
names?
Muhammad is one.
Yeah, he's awesome.
He's here today. But does he know?
Yes, because Suman told him.
Okay,
and then Jay's also here, and then the new guys I don't know. Yeah, Suman.
I do like
She's
Suman.
Awesome. So I told her, I was like, I go up, I'm like, listen, is the amenities floor booked tomorrow? She's like, what time? I said, 9 to 11. She's like, oh, it's all good, all good. You guys can book it. And I put your unit number down.
Oh, great. So if anything goes wrong, it's my unit that gets in trouble.
Matthew Water.
Awesome.
And she's like, what are you guys doing? I'm like, well, we're doing our show from there because she knows what we do.
Oh, does she?
And,
okay.
Yeah. And I'm like, she goes, who is it? I'm like, Jonathan Torrens. She goes, I don't really. So I showed her. She's like, oh, that guy, no way. So it was kind of funny. And Jay to the ROC, he's pumped up. And he was going to be joining us for like the whole show. That was the plan initially. And then Ryan Frankson over at Oilers.com, Oilers TV, invited him to morning skate. And I'm like, oh, checkmate.
Chiseling them out.
Yeah.
And
I was like, hey, can you at least come for the second hour? He's like, I got you. And so we scrambled and we put it here. And it worked out okay.
Gager was gracious enough to come here for this.
Thank you.
No, I wanted to check it out though. This is fantastic.
Yeah.
This stuff. This is amazing. I might, I don't know, move.
Well, you live here now, right?
Basically, yeah. I can't wait. Yeah.
Well, if it was a little bit nicer outside, I would have loved to have done
outside.
this outside.
Yeah.
Because we could have got Rogers Place in the background. Yep. I think we could convince Dusty to do a hangout here too if we do it live from the hot tub.
Oh, this is where the infamous hot tub
Yeah.
situation occurred, where he was so dehydrated he had to go to the hospital.
Well, and he went a couple days later. Like usually after a night of drinking, the next day you do replenish your fluids with some water or Gatorade or whatever it might be, Pedialyte nowadays.
Yes.
He chose not to apparently.
He
so,
did not.
Tommy, you're being told from Dusty and Lieutenant Eric, undo the button.
No.
They say it looks ridiculous.
Oh, my God. Fine there. I undid
just
it. Did it make a difference?
I don't know. Don't you usually have to unbutton when you're sitting down? Isn't that the,
I guess
the,
I'm
the
sorry.
rules?
I'm taking fashion advice from Eric and Dusty right now. I'm wearing a suit. I love you boys, but come on.
Yeah.
Wearing hats in the studio with the lights shining on them, and then it's all does is cast a shadow on their face during
I
the morning
wasn't going to
show.
say anything.
I'll say it, although I do give them credit because I didn't like that at the start, but I was doing mornings at the start. I'm like, I understand why they wear hats in the morning.
Oh, yeah.
I won't call them out too much. We just need to get lights that shine on them. Maybe we'll use these lights for a while.
Maybe
that
these
we
are
have
great
here.
lights. Also, this amenities, like you can only see like there's the fireplace in
It's
the background.
huge.
There's a big TV right here, and then there's the kitchen. It's like a party area basically. There's a grill outside where Dusty could cook frozen hamburgers if we have an EST party, and then the hot tub and
And
it's
there's nothing wrong with frozen ham. Like
I like
make
them.
I make hundreds at Commonwealth, so there's nothing wrong with it. Actually, how were those hamburgers, Maddie, that I sent you home with?
They were fantastic.
Were they?
They hit the spot. I didn't get them right away. I had to wait till after my show because I drove and then did the show, and I didn't want to bring them into Century because I don't know about bringing outside food inside Century.
Right.
So then, I needed those. Okay. They were delicious. Okay. They had the nice amount. The tomato was excellent. The lettuce, the bacon.
Yeah.
Oh,
I had to add those to them, right? Because they don't come like that.
Right.
So I do a little bit extra. But
Are you working tomorrow?
Yeah. I texted you.
No,
But
didn't.
I did. I texted you.
was
I go,
running
are
around
you
the sidelines.
here? I didn't know if you were working sidelines.
Oh yeah, I'll be there again tomorrow.
Yeah, so you just text me because I sent the whole boys off. They're always in fine form, just
Man, I missed out on that.
perfectly inebriated with sustenance. I gave them actually a box to go.
I love the box to go.
Yeah, but then
and then you gave Dusty and the crew.
Yeah, the TSN crew. I think I'm their favorite guy. So, I'm trying to weasel my way into the TSN crew. Maybe I want to maybe get into the booth for a CFL game.
You'd be great.
I would be terrible, but I think it would be cool.
I'm a huge fan of Tony Kornheiser, but Tony Kornheiser did 1 or 2 years as the Monday Night Football color analyst. You'd be just fine. Just throw some good stories in there, a couple of jokes, and you're fine.
Well, I mean, I'm part of CFL royalty. I think my cousin was Mervyn Fernandez.
Oh, that's right, Swerve and Mervyn.
Yeah. Who was it? Dennis Miller did Monday.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
You
Monday
could be
night.
that. You could be the comedian version for Sunday night or Saturday football on TSN.
The comedian that's not funny. Perfect.
Come on, you're making us laugh.
I guess.
See, you're good. You're set.
Yeah.
That'd be fun though.
And then you could be the new Dusty's best friend because clearly he's not best friends with Glenn Suter.
Ooh.
Well, he is. Again, Glenn offers many times, hey, come out with me. Let's come to dinner when you're in Vancouver. It has not been offered the other way yet.
Oh,
Good
really?
point.
Dusty has not made the offer. Like this past week, I know the game was moved up. He drove Suits up from Calgary.
Yep.
Yeah.
Why not? Hey, I'll pick you up for breakfast. Let's go for breakfast tomorrow.
Yeah.
Before we head off to the game. How's that sound? No, can't do that.
You know what, Glenn? I know you're listening. Just let me know what you want for the games and when you're in Edmonton here, and I'll fix you something up real nice.
Oh, baby. That's awesome. That's hospitality. Glenn's a really nice guy. I like working with him. Brian Kelly was busting his chops last week, and I'm like, I don't know if Glenn's going to get upset. I don't know Glenn to the extent Dusty does. I would not go out of my way to say Glenn Suter is my very good friend. I'd say we're acquaintances through work. But Brian Kelly was carving up. He's like, Brian Kelly is just very casual. He's like, where's Glenn Suter? Is he working today? And I was like, yeah, he's in the booth right now. He's like, oh, well, the last time I remember seeing him, he was chasing me into this end zone. I was like, no way. He goes, oh, yeah, I had so much time. I got by him. I'm like, where's the safety? I was like, holy crap. This guy is vicious.
Oh, that's great.
And then at the end of the interview, I was like, hey, Brian, you were asking where Glenn was. He's up in the booth. You got anything to say? He's like, yeah, Glenn, remember when you were chasing me and I was scoring a touchdown last time I saw you? Hope you're doing good. And then I heard the booth laughing, and I'm like, okay, I think that went over well. And then I went up to Suits after. I'm like, was that okay? He's like, that was great. I loved it.
Good.
Yeah.
How is the sideline gig?
I love it.
Good.
It's so much different, and the game flies by. It flies by because like they're telling you what they need in your ear because you don't really add that much. You're basically there for interviews, and then if you see anything happen, you throw out a couple of little stories going into the game and stuff. Like if someone gets hurt, you're like, wow, this is what happened. I think I only had to do like 3 or 4 hits on that show last week on the broadcast, and it flies. And then you like walk over to the other side, you see what's going on with the visitors, check in with them, and things are going good. As the riders were climbing back into the game, I was on that side, and you could just see the PR team just pumped up.
Oh, really?
And the fans on the east side, a lot of rider fans on the east side behind their bench, and they were loud. I have to give them credit. I mean, they had a great second half. Good fourth quarter, actually. Maddie, I know you and Jay broke it down on the post-game show, but it's a lot of fun. I love it.
I mean, it's such a. I was thinking about it, and I was like, wow, what a unique opportunity to see the ebbs and flows of a different type of sport. Right?
Yeah.
Football is momentum for sure. Like the other team starts fading, the other team getting momentum. You can see what's happening kind of behind the scenes and feel that energy kind of moving forward. That's that's a unique experience.
And the game's so fast. There's Mohammed. Good morning, Mohammed. How are you? Good to see you, buddy. Yeah, we're live. Yeah, we're good.
Gage's mic's a little quiet right now, so that's all I'm trying to do fix here.
We can crank that up.
I don't think I can.
What do you mean?
Well, it's fully cranked, and if I go a little higher, it sounds a little weird. So
No. What on the you hit the button with?
Yeah, no, I know that, but when you pump up that too much, it picks up too much of the background or something. So we'll see.
Okay.
I'm working on it.
I gotta.
We'll figure it.
I'll figure it out.
We'll figure it out.
But
You just need to be a little more booming with your voice.
Booming. How's that?
Then the last thing I'll think about the sidelines thing is I like it because you're talking football.
Yeah.
And we're used to talking hockey, obviously doing the pre and post game show and oil stream and all that, but you get to talk football, and it's just a nice change of pace. And those guys love to talk too. Like it's not a drain for them to do an interview or anything like that. They're happy to chat with you, and you're like, that was so easy. So it doesn't have to be that hard.
It's just a different type of interview too, isn't it? From the standard hockey kind of interview where it's depending on who you get, it's pretty repetitive.
Exactly, and like you could be honestly sometimes, Gager, and I hope it goes like this weekend, tomorrow's game, but you could be like, man, what happened? And you could just say, man, what happened? Like, I thought I was going to be by him. I dropped the ball, this and that. And you're like, I wasn't even sure if I was talking about that. That was great.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, it's interesting, and the eagerness to want to get some screen time from those guys and talk about the game. And I love it. I really enjoy it, and it just flies by. So I get to do it again tomorrow, and I'm super excited, and it's fun to work with my good friend Dusty Nielsen and then my work acquaintance Glenn Suter.
I think I got the mics working a little better.
All right.
Gage, give me a little something.
How do I sound now?
Oh, you might be a little louder.
Beautiful.
So I could fix that quickly here, and
boom,
we're good to go.
We don't use Channel 4 that often. That's
we're not on Channel 4.
Number 3?
I had I was touching my mic by accident a little bit there.
Nice.
Gage's because I had it set up for his 1, 2, 3, but then I took 3 and I forgot about that. And mic 4 is connected to that Shure mic there, so we'll be good to go for that. Tomorrow it is also the Green and Gold kickoff and post-game shows live right here in Edmonton Sports Talk. Myself, Jay Milne, live Century Casino Sports Bar and Lounge just off of Fort Road, as we'll get you set for that game. Daily specials include the cheese and jalapeno smoky. They'll have the 6 o'clocker in a can, as well as a game day draft. So come on down, say hi to Jay and I. If you're not going to the game, then you can just watch the game there. They have those walls of TVs. They're amazing. If you're going to the game, the LRT's right there.
Yes.
Come on down, say hi, jump on the LRT, head to the game, come on back, play some games, head on home. Beautiful Friday night for you here in Edmonton, and hopefully the weather does hold. Hopefully we finally get the weather we've had here in Edmonton. It's just been. I just want like a week of nice weather.
It's not summer yet though, boys. It's we got a few weeks. Once it hits, what is it? 20th, 21st?
21st, I think.
21st is the solstice.
But usually, like we could get like a week long of 20, 21, 22 of just sun. There's been we're getting a lot of rain, which is great.
We need it.
But could that rain come between like midnight and 5 a.m.?
That'd be great.
That would be great. Yeah, that would be nice. But no, I'm looking forward to tomorrow night. I was thinking, because now we have the beer fridges at Commonwealth in the concessions. I was thinking I sneak like a few 6 o'clocker lagers in there, and then just say, hey, what's that one? See how they do.
That'd be great.
That'd be hilarious. I'd probably get in trouble.
Yeah, you'd probably get in trouble for that, but we'd appreciate it.
We will talk some Oilers right away here. Just a quick reminder, because somebody asking, J Roc incoming, what's going on today? So yes, again, he's Jonathan Torrens is going to come just after 10 o'clock. He's going to be at the Oilers morning skate, which is happening at 9:30 across the street. Tommy's going to head there as well. Then Tommy's going to bring Jonathan back in for the second hour of the Hangout. Presented by Two Hoots, we will have Jonathan Torrens on the show. Before we get to Oilers, also news from the NHL, which is the St. Louis Blues have announced Alex Steen will take over as GM in 2026, while current GM Doug Armstrong will hold the role of president through 2028-29. So they're going through a process of promoting Alex Steen to being general manager, but doing it in a process of seamless transition where I guess Doug will be there teaching Steen, and then Steen will just fully take over in 2026.
Yes.
Is that the old, who's...
I just remember him playing hockey. Like, it's weird to see this guy now.
Just retired.
And stuff. I know.
Did he? That's the Swedish guy, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, he was a Leaf.
Thomas Steen's son.
Yeah, I remember.
He played for a long time.
I played against him in Frölunda when he was in Frölunda, I think in Sweden.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think he came into the NHL early 2000s, like 2004, somewhere around there.
Yeah,
2003,
yeah,
maybe even earlier, somewhere around there.
I think it was the next year. Yeah, that was it. Because Frölunda there was older guys on their team. I think their last name it was Anderson. I'm trying to think of this other guy that was they had a few St. Louis picks. And one of their best players, St. Louis wanted him to come over, and they offered him a really good contract one way, but the guy said no.
Wow.
He was like, I'd much rather just stay home and play. And he was fantastic. He would have been I would say maybe his high end would have been second line center, but definitely could play in the NHL. He was a fantastic hockey player, but just it always surprised me going over there, running into guys that had the chance to go over and play in the NHL, and they said, no, I'm good here.
That reminds me of a story that Struddy told me one day, and you played in Sweden, so you might have a good understanding of this as well. That's why I want to ask you. Struddy said one thing he learned about the Swedes is if they're not 100% into it, like their mind's not there or their body is ailing them, they won't do it. They won't commit. Is that legitimate? Yeah. Is that a legitimate thing?
Yeah, I mean, look no further than guys right now in the NHL. They're hurt, and they still want to play, but is it actually hurting the team, right? So when I played in Sweden, at first it was puzzling to me because we had a really good player on our team, Ottosson. I remember one game we were on the way there, and he seemed fine, and then like halfway through the second, I go, "Where's Otto? Is he even playing?" And then on the bus ride back, and he's talking or whatever, and I'm like, "Why didn't Otto play?" He goes, "Oh, he took his temperature before the game, and he was like, whatever it was, he was 37.5, so he wasn't, he didn't play." And I'm like, "What?" And so yeah, if they don't feel 100%, or they don't do it, you know, and there is something to that, to a respect, I think, like, okay, if I can't give it 100%, I'm not going to be a detriment to my team. And there's something to that a little bit, but yeah, they don't, unless they're 100%, they don't do it.
The other thing about Steen is apparently other teams were asking about him for their GM job. Yep.
Wow.
Yep.
Well, obviously, there's certain guys, like a few weeks ago, Mike Williamson, who I played with in Portland, and he played with, or he coached the Hitmen and the Winterhawks for a time in the Western Hockey League, and he was just one of those guys that was so knowledgeable about everything when he played, you know. And I think coaches realized that because they asked him. I think after his 20-year-old year, they were going, "What are your plans? Do you want to stay down in Portland and maybe take on the assistant coaching role?" Like, they knew this guy had those coaching chops, and no coach ever asked me if I wanted to coach. So obviously I didn't have them, but I think there's certain players, maybe it's just the conversations in rooms going, "Oh my God, this guy knows what he's talking about." And so maybe we gotta sink our claws into him early because there's something there. You heard, I don't know if you heard Paul Maurice talk about Chris Knoblaw when he interviewed, I think it was in Winnipeg.
Yeah.
There was for the assistant job, and he met a few other guys. And Paul Maurice said no to him, but with respect, because he didn't see him as an assistant coach.
Wow.
You're a head coach, not an assistant, and told basically in those interviews to follow your path, and this isn't the right avenue for you. So there's a guy that, you know, at one time he was the youngest head coach in the National Hockey League. Obviously, has some experience in dealing with people and can see the potential. But yeah, and I guess they conversed over the course of that time between that first interview of questioning. But he knew that one time Chris would probably be a head coach at some point in the NHL.
It's funny because I think Saravalli wrote the piece, but I remember when he did interview for the Golden Bears head coaching job.
Really?
Before Ian Herbers got it with Kootenay, and then Kootenay found out and fired him. And he never got the job here.
Really?
And it was that's his trajectory. He was about to be the Golden Bears head coach. Yeah. Come back, take over the alma mater, be the coach here. They were looking for someone. No one had heard Ian Herber's name at the time, but Chris Knobloch was the name that was being talked about. And then Kootenay, the ownership group at the time, whatever, found out, and they fired him. And now his career path has taken him to being the head coach of the Oilers and coaching in the Stanley Cup Finals.
That's hilarious.
But what, might not have ever, if you go to the Golden Bears, you might not get that next jump because you've got this cushy job, university money, like you've got that nice role.
Like Herbie does right now.
Herbie's very, very calm.
I don't know how many other teams around the AHL or NHL would be looking at a university guy to take over.
Good point.
But he stuck with and went to Erie and all of that, and
that's something to say about that program. So there's two, like Herbie coached assistant coach in the NHL, but and now Chris in the NHL. That's a great program. That hockey program is top notch. And when I talk to a lot of, not a ton, but people ask me sometimes with their kids what their path should be or what do you think. If the U of A is open, and even UBC has made some strides.
Yeah, they were a good team.
Boutenschan, old teammate, played against him lots. He's the coach out there.
Yep.
If it's not working out because the maturity of a player, they're not all Connor McDavids, but the growth and understanding of the game sometimes takes players a little bit longer, and I think you can really take advantage of using university sports, especially in hockey. If after that 4-year career, trying out it professionally in some level, see if it works. If it doesn't, you still got your degree. I think it's a way better path.
Man, those games at the U of A at Old Clare Drake Arena are so much fun. You've been to
They're the
You
best.
guys have been to them. Yeah.
I haven't gone in a couple of years, actually, no. I didn't go last year again.
I went last year. It was awesome. And I'm just like, you are the king of the campus if you play for the Golden Bears. Football, hockey, and listen, I know that they support the other sports and stuff too, but
they support the volleyball and stuff right now.
And as they should, and that's great, like to have school spirit and all that stuff. But like those games on a Friday night at Clare Drake and the beers are flowing.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah.
I haven't been in a couple of years as well, but I loved because I could go say hi to Herbie, and then he'd go, "Come on in," and then I'd go in, and Marps would be in the coach's room, and we'd sit there, and they'd be, the beers would be flowing, and to hear those guys like break down the game afterwards, it's a lot of fun. Like to hear head coaches and assistant coaches talking about certain plays and stuff and what we have to do. It was a real insight because that's something that most people don't see, but I would love to see that at the NHL level. After a game, you go into the coach's room and actually can hear how they broke down the game.
That'd
and what
be amazing.
Happened. That would open up a lot of eyes for a lot of fans to see that side of the game.
I have a question, and it has to do with U Sport and the level of hockey because I go watch those games. It's tremendous. Like I'm like, these guys are good, and some guys do make it. They obviously, a lot of guys from U Sport go pro, but different levels, different leagues across the world. But do you think, or why do you think, not as many guys are scouted and plucked out of U Sport? Do you think there's a stigma against it to a certain degree, or do you think it's like, these guys are older and they probably reach their ceiling as players? Like, how do you see it, Gage? Because I know that they've played Major Junior, most of them, or Junior A, and then they just, it's like there's still good players to mine out of there, isn't there?
I think there is. I don't really understand it, Tommy. It should be scouted way more. The fact is you get a lot of those guys that they're focused on their university. That's maybe it's not you're. And I'd be hard pressed. Like Kirby used to ask me to come in and practice once in a while back in the day with guys that with a goalie had a lab. I would go practice with them, and there's a ton of professionalism with these guys, and they're just to me, that's what I want. It was the old adage, like Gretzky says, I don't want I think guys should do a multi-sport athlete. That's who I'm looking for. To me, I want a guy that's engaged mentally away from the rink, just as engaged physically at the rink. These guys are working towards something while also playing hockey at a very high competitive level. I think you're getting the best of both worlds: intelligent, dedicated hockey players. That's what you want. You get out into the real world, and of course that 4-year degree shows you have discipline to finish something, but to do it at a collegiate level like that's. I don't know, Tommy. It doesn't make much sense. It seems like that's the type of people that you want in your organization. Whether it be at the NHL level or the minor league level, they're having that kind of drive on your team. That breeds that what's the word? That culture. I think.
Yeah. But I know that there's quote unquote smaller guys in general in youth sport, but there's some beasts out there as well.
Yeah,
and they all have to be able to skate, and they all have to be able to make plays. And I don't know. I'm
They're
not
just too old, in a sense, for teams. Like I think when you're like in the NHL, you're drafting 18-year-olds. Why would you go scout a 21-year-old? Like everyone's looking at the younger guy. They're always wanting the younger guy, and it's well, why am I going to take this guy who's 22 right now, and I'll go look for another 18-year-old. They always just want to look at younger. It's the same with the NFL. It's younger and cheaper type thing.
That's fair.
And I think that's one of the reasons why they don't look at it is that we already scouted this guy. This guy was in juniors. We didn't like him. Why would we go now scout these guys now? And I think that's where teams maybe are thinking.
The late bloomers, like NCAA guys are only like a year or two younger when we get these guys who were drafted and didn't sign, and all of a sudden they're 21, 22, and this is the hot NCAA player at the end of the NHL season. Who's gonna get him? 19 teams have contacted him. Well, really, he's only maybe a year or two younger than a U Sport guy, right?
Yeah, and I think we talked about this years ago on Two Guys, but we were talking about the draft and how maybe having it not so young, right? Maybe an exemption status for the 17, 18-year-olds. So just like they do in the
bump
West
up the age.
But bump up the age to like 20 years old, right? Increase the amount of overage players you can have at a Western. We were talking about the Western League, so a little bit different. And even in well, we called it Tier 2, but say the Alberta Junior League, have the ability to play more 20-year-olds. So then what happens is all the lower leagues, so the 16s, 17s, keeps them playing hockey at that level, not being able to make the jump to the junior level. And then so everything, there's a slow progression. And I think you're going to be, by increasing the draft age, you're going to have a lot better or a better understanding of your minor league system and having guys ready than just drafting an 18-year-old and hoping for the best.
Well, how much body development is still to go in those next couple of years, right?
It's huge.
It changes a lot, and I think baseball would be the only other league that I think drafts those that young. Because NBA now you have to be one and done, but you have to go to college for 1 year. NFL you have to go to college for a couple of years. Baseball I think is the only other one where you could come right out of high school, I still believe, or you could choose the college road. It's one or the other. You got to make a decision. Hockey is we're going to see 18-year-olds all drafted.
Yeah.
But what if you did go to 20?
I know.
How much more better could the scouting department do of picking, okay, this guy should progress because now we've seen them over 2 years and the body development, all that. And I have a lot of time for that. But then when you have the Connor McDavids of the world,
but then
you sit there just like we have in the OHL or the WHL where you sit there and be like, okay, look at this talent.
But this is what else you do. I think it was Cass. God, I hate giving him credit for good ideas, but he said you have your 18-year-old pick, but you can. It's like your chip, and you can only use it like once or every 2 years.
It's the one bullet kind of thing?
Yeah, so if there's so you can draft one 18-year-old or you can trade it or whatever, but you can only do it once per draft, right? So that's your one pick. If there's a real stud that you think you can get, otherwise everyone else is at a different level.
The other ones I've heard people float out there is like only in the top 5 or something.
Yeah.
Which then adds the even like if you really want this player, you got to trade up into the top 5, which might open up trades when it comes to the NHL draft, which make it a little more exciting. I also never understood that you could draft a player, they could play in the NHL that season, but if they don't play in the NHL, they have to go back to juniors. You can't put them in the American Hockey League. Well, I think there should be an exemption for that, where you could have that one player that you think is good enough. Like if you bring him up for 9 games, you get close and you go, this guy's good enough for the NHL, but it's maybe now not this year. If I'm a franchise, sometimes maybe I look at it like, but maybe I want him in the American Hockey League just to develop a little bit better for next year. If they're good enough to play in the NHL potentially for 9 games, why aren't they good enough to play in the American Hockey League? I think there should be an exemption, like Cass's thing, 1 every 5 years for a team.
But then you're depleting another league of its superstars.
Yeah, but you might already take him anyways for the NHL.
Yeah.
And that's why I say you don't like 1 over 5 years or something. I think it'd just be better for that player's development sometimes where you go, they're too good for juniors, but they're not yet 100% there for the NHL.
I understand.
We need that middle league for them.
I understand it, but I think you're depriving that city of a really big talent. If he's up there at the beginning of the year going to those, he's a pretty good player and probably dominates at the junior level. And I don't know. I think you wouldn't have as many really good players in junior at that point. But maybe by increasing the age, it doesn't matter.
It would. It's 9:40. This is the EST Hangout presented by Two Hoots, Matt Iwanyk, Joaquin Gage, Tom Gazzola. Are you heading to the rink? Or
I told Jonathan. He said, I'll find the place. I said, okay. Be here
okay.
for 10, so.
So we'll let you
I'll
go at
just
some
have to
point
go
just to go
grab
walk him and find him.
Exactly.
And we don't want him wandering downtown
Like
too much.
He literally has to go across the street.
Yeah. Well, you don't want him walking
And he
into the Braun
might be
building.
bringing another comedian with him.
We'll see how that goes. We're live at Tommy and I's condo. Tommy and I's condo. I want to make sure Jay doesn't get mad at me or something. Tommy and I's condo. We don't share a condo. We share a condo building. But we're in the amenities floor, which is the 10th floor. We've got a hot tub outside next to us. We've got the hot tub cleaner next to us, though. We got a fireplace that we didn't know how to turn on.
Huge TV that's not on camera.
Huge TV that's not on camera. And a wonderful patio, which would have really been nice to have broadcasted from. I'm not going to lie. So we're doing it once this summer.
We have to.
We're going outside in the sun with the Rogers place in the background.
It's great.
We're doing that.
The view outside is
Yes.
great. The beauty of this amenities floor, it's a party floor basically with the TV. They've been having watch parties, so the recycling bin's full of empty beer cans. And what they did is they brought in, because we have these couches,
Patio
furniture, and there's like 3 or 4 sets of them, and they had them like tiered like a
movie.
Like a movie, yeah, and that's what the people from our building have been doing. They've been watching the Oiler games up here.
I haven't got the invite.
Neither have I. There's like is there like a cool group that lives in this building that we don't know about?
I gotta find these.
I would say they're not the cool group if you're not there. I'm just tagging along if you're there. But somebody asking, do we go to the condo board meetings?
He does.
I do go to the. Well, it's once a year. It's once a year. That's all it is.
I missed it. There was one that we were all supposed to be in on, and I'm like, oh, whoops, missed that one.
I'm going to get your proxy for next year, so I have voting power.
You are my
for you.
proxy.
I'm going to slowly consolidate power and then just take over the entire board.
Yeah.
And it's going to be miserable for everyone else here, but I'll make sure it's good for you.
Yeah, there's other people in media that live in this building, and I'll be like, just tell Iwanyk what you
that's
need.
perfect.
Yeah.
Oh, I could really run this place at some point.
Yeah.
Actually, before we get to Hangout Headlines, brought to you by the Ranch Golf and Country Club, we got 2 pairs of tickets to go see the Edmonton Elks tomorrow at Commonwealth Stadium with the Montreal Alouettes. I think they're Director Club access to tickets.
Director Club is great.
Really?
It's awesome.
Yeah, I believe I have
Food,
those
drinks.
as well. Century Casino Sports Bar and Lounge just off Fort Road, where every day is game day. It's where Jay and I will be tomorrow for the Green and Gold kickoff and post-game shows. I just want to quickly log into the account to make sure I have that correctly. I do have 2 pairs of tickets for sure to the game. As I log in, I'll double-check to make sure that whether they have the Director Club or not.
Director's Club is awesome. That's where we had my birthday last year.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you were working. I wanted you to come, but Murray McCourt from the VIP Golf Show Sundays here on EST 8 a.m. He's got Director Club seats.
Oh,
and he's like, boys, you want my suite for Tommy's birthday? I'm like, yup.
Wow.
It is great. Like, it is. I mean, the only thing is you do have seats out in the stands with them, but if the weather sucks or it's raining like it was last week, you just go in there and there's food, snacks, and a lot of drinks. If you are so inclined, you can have a soda or a water if you don't want to, get a little banged up. But our Directors Club is great. That's a good giveaway. I really like that.
If you want to go to the Elks game tomorrow, at the very least, I got 2 pairs of tickets. Still just got to double check and log in to make sure everything, if it is Directors Club or not. But for sure, there's just 2 tickets to go see the game tomorrow. Texas Go Elks. That's it. 780-218-9999. Texas Go Elks. To the Paris Jewelers inbox, 780-218-9999, and I will randomly pick 2 people to go to the Elks game tomorrow, take on the Riders. You can bring a friend with you. This all thanks to Century Casino Sports Bar and Lounge, where actually throughout the season, while Jay and I are at Century Casino, we will have some tickets to give away while we're there for future games. So
awesome.
Another reason to come on down to Century Casino Sports Bar and Lounge, not just for the great food deals, not to just see Jay and myself, not to just sit there and watch on the wall of TVs, not to just go bet on the ponies or jump on a table or games. It's also you can win chance to go see the Edmonton Elks. So again, just text us Elks, 780-218-9999, and after the show, I'll get in touch with 2 of you to send you and a friend wherever you want to the Elks game tomorrow against the Owls. Let's get to Hangout Headlines, which is brought to you by the Ranch Golf and Country Club, offering premier conditions, top-notch service, unmatched value. The Ranch is the place you want to be to golf this season. Book your tee time at theranchgolf.com. It is an Oiler game day. Oilers taking on the Panthers. Game 3, GCL Diesel Oil Stream pregame show live right here on Edmonton Sports Talk, coming up at 4:30. Tommy will be in this building, but one floor down.
Satellite
Studios. Few floors down, we'll say.
One floor down.
Well, I didn't want to go with
I don't care. Like
okay.
I bought on that floor because I am deathly afraid of heights.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I
Like his place
I like
scares
it high.
me.
I like it high.
Oh, you
Come
can
on
go-
up to number
Yeah,
25.
that's
Yeah,
great.
I'm on 9er.
That's where he'll be. Stanley Cup Finals here. They put a Stanley Cup Final logo, banner, or whatever. They put it up on the J-Dub overlooking the Ice District. We got Our Lady of Peace playing in the fan zone today.
Really?
In the fan park.
Yeah. Shania
Twain
on
on Saturday.
Holy smokes.
Yeah, they're bringing out all the stops. For the Cup's here,
Wow.
baby. Cup's here.
What's great, really quickly, as an aside, is Jonathan's going to be joining us shortly, and he does a podcast, Taggart and Torrens, with Jeremy Taggart, who's the former drummer of Our Lady Peace, longtime drummer of Our Lady Peace. And I was like, well, Tags, they had a falling out. I think they kind of get along still, but yeah, I was like, oh, how about that? J Roc's in town. Tags is his podcast co-host, and Our Lady Peace is playing the Thursday game. It's weird, hey?
It's nice to have the Stanley Cup in Edmonton, that's for sure.
Does it matter that the Panthers showed up yesterday at 8 o'clock?
Gager, you have a better idea of this.
Yeah, no. It's absolutely fine. They got to miss their media veil, which they're probably happy about, first of all. And no, this is, I mean, any other day, that's probably around the time they roll in anyways, right? Depending on where they're coming from. So they were able to get in, go grab something to eat, relax, go to bed at a reasonable time. It's not going to affect them one bit.
No Cactus Club for them last night.
No.
Or Joey.
Which, yeah, maybe it's a good thing because
Yeah.
we all know that the Kachucks like the Cactus Club. Is Walt in town too? He's got to be here.
I would imagine
Daddy
so.
Kachuk? He's got to be here.
I would
right?
imagine so.
I was telling Gager beforehand, and I don't think I should tweet this last night because it could have got me in trouble. But it would have been great if there was unusual amount of extra traffic on the highway leading up to the J-Dub. Like, it would have been something else if some Oiler fans got together and got like a bunch of other people and just all went for a drive and just loaded up the highway with a little extra traffic so that when the Panthers, because the media all had it, like, oh, the Panthers have landed.
Yeah.
If they all just plan to make their time getting to the J-Dub a bit slower.
Well,
Just that, how much
yeah.
that could have annoyed them. That could have, if they landed at 8, probably not at the hotel about 10, maybe 9:30. Wow, what if they don't get to the hotel till midnight? Because all of a sudden there's extra traffic going north on the QE2. All of a sudden, going downtown, there's just a huge traffic jam because everyone's making the exact same drive at that very moment. It would have been something else if Oiler fans could have just rallied together to have done something like that.
Like Surveyor Brett could have done something, I'm sure. Get the crew out there and survey QE2.
Oh,
Put some unnecessary cones on the.
I mean,
we got to
Gateway
check
Boulevard.
something here. I know it's
Yeah.
9 o'clock at night, but serious issue that we got to look here. Some EPCOR crew people just grab their truck, throw some pylons down, and we got to go underneath here. We got to detour this way, and
GS Construction's everywhere else in the city.
Right?
Come on, Torrens.
Turan played for the damn team. Come on. And actually, I was talking with David Amber last night, and he goes, "Well, the Panthers are going to get in late. If there's a night for Edmonton to pull a fire alarm or do something, tonight's the night."
well, then that's the and it's not a short drive from the airport downtown. You could have made it really longer, if it much longer, much more unenjoyable. You could have really pissed them off. They've had a tough travel day.
Yeah.
And now if you made them take their sweet time getting in the hotel, could have been fun. That's a very soccer way of this.
Oh, yeah.
It's a very
Yeah.
soccer thing. But I also didn't know if I tweeted hey, let's have traffic congestion, if the police would have been okay with that one yesterday. So I kind of left that.
You're head of the condo board. You can do whatever you want.
I'm not there yet.
He's got proxy from me. He's going to have it from other media people in the building.
So, but now the one thing I would wonder about the travel Gager, though, is it is a 2-hour difference. Does that impact them? Because that's the one thing about, would you not want to have come the day after the game too, so you could start that adjustment to Mountain Time Zone? Because they say, it's an hour a day
Yes.
to get used to it.
Yeah, and I always thought that was BS when I was traveling with the oil, but then I was like, oh no, it's a real thing.
It's a real thing. I mean, time zone Tommy over here, he can barely handle an hour in the same city. So it's a little bit different.
I'll
but
accept that.
I always found it easier going like east to west because you were gaining, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, it didn't affect me too much. And look, these guys are used to it by now. I don't think you're gonna. It's not going to affect them. It's not like you're going. I think it affects you more if you're going back and forth, like on a road trip.
Yeah.
And then you're going. What time is it? Where am I? That's when your clock really gets screwed up. Just that subtle amount of time, I don't think it's going to be.
Here's a good question by Hampton Steve, texting at 780-218-9999. Hampton Steve's asking, it doesn't matter that this is the first time since January, other than a quick trip to Dallas in March, that the Panthers are playing outside the Eastern time zone. That's
It's
insane.
since January.
We're talking 5-6 months here.
Wow. It's an advantage, man. I'd always said playing in Edmonton's difficult throughout the regular season because of the amount of travel that they have to do. When you log the amount of hours, and who are we talking about this with? And I think it might have been Mac T or something. And he was like, we were on the road for like almost a month. You know, like the amount of time you're in planes and doing compared to out east where, you know, they're basically after a lot of away games, they're back home in their own beds sleeping that night. You know, it's I mean, the Oilers are too, but it's usually the next day, or you know, they're chartering home, and that's a long flight, and you're losing. You know, you've played an NHL game. You're obviously depleted a little bit.
Yeah.
Being up in the air, you're losing 1 liter of water per hour at 30,000 feet or whatever it is. Or
I remember the guys that would wear like these compression underwear and shirts, and they'd go get out of their suits and stuff, and I was like, what are you guys doing? They're like, it's supposed to help with circulation when you're this high in the air. And I'm like, okay. I loved it, the travel and the time in the air and at the hotel, but I'm not a high-performance athlete. I was a media guy. Like I was eating everything, drinking everything, and all I had to do was talk on camera for a few minutes a day. Like, it was awesome. But for them, and then the staff, the equipment guys,
gosh,
and the training staff.
I don't know how they do it, man.
They're machines.
Yeah, when the season's done, they all deserve a massive break with the amount of extra work they have to do. Just imagine, you know, every game, packing up, getting everything ready, getting to the airport. Once you land, all the players and coach, they're going straight to the hotel.
Yeah,
they're going to the rink and getting everything prepared, getting ready.
Laundry,
everything.
Man.
Then back to the hotel, 2 hours sleep, back before everyone else to make sure everything's prepared before skates, pregame skates. Get everything ready again, back to the hotel, bite to eat, right back before, and just rinse and repeat over and over. It's
sometimes I would talk to them and they'd be like, "Yeah, I slept on the massage table last night."
Yeah, it's funny the relationships between training staffs, like they're so tight.
Yep,
all of them, like the Panthers, because they know how hard it is on the road. When you're at home, there's just as much. It's not even relaxing because you're trying to make it as easy as possible for the visiting team coming in, because you'll get that reciprocation from them when you're in their arena.
2022-23. I don't have anything for 23-24 travel. The Oilers traveled 63,000 miles.
Yeah.
Then it was the Canucks at 58,000, followed by the Golden Knights at 57.5, and then the Panthers were actually 4 though last year. So I don't know what it would be like this year, but because this is as people say, Will Fraser loves this. He absolutely hates this. But most North team versus the most South team in North American Championship ever or whatever. Panthers do have to travel a bit when they go around, so I guess they would be used to, maybe just because it hasn't been since January, but they're a team that, at least as of last year, they do travel quite a bit too. The Oilers just travel more than everyone else.
The time zone thing is the one that I think, if anything, could catch up with the team.
Catch up with you. Yeah. And it's maybe, I mean, you've heard other coaches when, I forget what team it was that was playing here. It might have been way back when, but San Jose, I think they went to Banff because there was a day between games.
That's happened,
They get right out of the city because there's just so much Oilers, and they can't go anywhere. You know, they get recognized immediately, and so just to be able to focus and things like that.
I think
so
the
maybe
Rangers did that too because of Glenn's connection.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So that would be something they probably, maybe Paul Maurice was thinking about a little bit, just to limit the amount of exposure they had to Oilers fans.
It's a thing.
I quickly want to qualify someone right now for the $100,000 hole-in-one contest, which is presented by Golftown. Check them out in-store or online, golftown.com. Give the gift of golf this season for Father's Day. Lots of great products, apparels, accessory, tech, everything you need for golf, for you or your dad. Golftown is the place to go get it, or if your dad is kind of like me when it comes to golf, which is very particular, very wants the specific things, just get the Golftown gift card. It's the perfect way to go. Let them pick what they want. And you don't even have to do that much thinking for it. But you're going to go get Jonathan?
I'm going to go get Jonathan.
So golftown.com, $100,000 hole-in-one contest. They'll take place July 3rd at the Ranch Golf and Country Club, the 17th hole, 180 yards away. The keyword for today, it's TaylorMade. TaylorMade is the keyword to text in right now to 780-218-9999. That is TaylorMade. Text that in right now, and you'll go into a draw to be the qualifier today on the Hangout. We'll call someone tomorrow from today's qualifiers. That person will be the next contestant with a chance to potentially swing for $100,000 at the Ranch on July 3rd. Again, presented by Golftown. Portions of this hour of the EST Hangout, they are presented by the Hive Product Marketing, official merch partner of EST. Check them out, thehiveproductmarketing.com. Today I have a few more items for the golf tournament that are arriving at the office. So tomorrow I'm excited to...
What, I don't know if I asked you, what are you, I mean, without the injury, what are you using from 180?
Do you want... I've explained this. Do you want the whole story?
Yeah,
of how this is going to go for me? People have heard this before, but now you're going to hear it. So I would probably want to use a 5.
Okay.
But with that hole, and there's trees in the back, I'll probably... And it slopes a little down, so I wouldn't mind playing a little longer.
Oh, really?
Just in case, because I probably will then mess it up, hit it a little fat, so I'll take the little extra club, so I'd probably take a 4. So I'd step up, I'll overthink this, because the water's right there, I'll go too much, and then what I'll do is I'll hit the ball either like 5 feet in front of me or just like it'll just roll into the bushes right in front of me. I'll get very angry, I'll throw my club, I'll go then into like near the bushes and sulk. That's how it will go for me.
I've always gone long on that hole.
Yeah?
But sometimes, like, it's sloped at the back a little bit. So
yes.
It can hit the back and then kind of
you could potentially get a little roll.
Yeah. So, and I mean, I can't stop the ball or whatever. But I've hit the green a lot of times, way far from the hole. Like, I've still 3-jacked that thing once I've got on there. But
I am the worst on par 3s. I hate par 3s. I never do well on par 3s. I love a good par 5. I love a par 5. Par 4 I'm good with. It's the par 3s. If you look at my scorecards, if there's going to be bad holes, generally it's a par 3.
Really?
I screw up so much at par 3s. And then that hole, too, it just will get in my head, and I know how it will go. I know how it will go. It'll be awful. I'll barely hit it. I'll be angry. And good thing I'm not even going to try it on that day.
That'll be fun to watch. That'll be really good to watch.
As we wait for Jonathan Torrens to come up, and potentially another guest, which I might then have to slide out to set things up, and maybe we've had a 5th mic in here. What are you looking for from the Oilers tonight? If they want to get back to make this a 2-1 series and have a chance to tie it up for going into Game 4.
Use what you got, and by that I mean the crowd. I think it's you can sense, even driving here this morning, you can feel the tension of tonight's game. It's almost, dare I say, it's like Montreal on a Saturday night. Like you'd feel that hockey night in Canada vibe. Tonight feels a little bit different. So using the energy of the crowd in a good way. I mean, getting a big hit, like getting them on your side quickly. That first goal is going to be vastly important in this game, I think.
Well, if the Oilers get it, it might rattle the Panthers. If the Panthers get it, it might make them feel good because all of a sudden the nerves will settle inside Rogers.
Oh yeah, because you can hear a pin drop when the other team scores, right? So, I think they need to simplify everything. On the Nielsen show this morning, I think Gazdeck said he was talking about the power play. Get it back, get pucks on net, get traffic, just simplify everything. Break hockey down to its bare bones, and I agree with him wholeheartedly with this. Simple plays, and then matching the intensity, work ethic that the Florida Panthers play with because when I think it gets down to that level, the matching both teams up, if they're both playing at the same, the Oilers are just capable. Then that's when the skill really starts to take over. And I think with the players that the Oilers have, I give them the edge subtly in that respect.
I'm still just waiting for that Connor McDavid FU game. It's got to come. Where it's all McDavid. It's like 5 points.
And
takes over.
He's so good, and I'm sure he probably he's like anyone. He probably puts a little bit too much pressure on himself, which is what you want from your best player, obviously. But if I'm if I'm a teammate of Connor and we're getting ready and we're just like, just go play, man. Just do what you've done hundreds of thousands of times before.
But that's the end. But in those games, it just sometimes just comes where he dominates it.
I know.
And I'm waiting for that moment where it's just so natural for him even, but it's just you see him flying all game, and you go, okay, whenever this guy touches the puck, there's a chance it's going to the back, and then it's going to lead some sort of scoring chance.
You know what? I know you're waiting. You know what I'm waiting for? I'm waiting for the Zach Kassian game, where it's the unheralded guy that takes over a game like that. I was at that game that he played against, I believe it was San Jose. He had 2 goals. I think they won 2-1. And he was by far the best player on the ice. It was amazing. Physicality, scoring. Every time he was on the ice, something happened where he made fans get out of their seats. So would it be great if Connor did that? Yes, but I want to see someone else on the Oilers have that type of game where they've raised the bar or their level of play to a level that's better than everyone else.
That's the thing with the Zach Kassian too for the Oilers tonight. Even just early on, just go lay a couple hits because the crowd is going to erupt.
Yeah.
You just go lay 3-4 good body checks. That place is just going to really start buzzing. People are going to be feeling it, and then your whole team's going to start feeling it, and it's going to get going. That's something they need almost even. If you don't get that first goal right away, like go and just in those first couple of minutes, go lay some good hits.
Yeah.
And Rogers' place will be electric.
Even like good chances, like get everyone just excited, and just have that buzz where people just want to almost stand up for the whole period, right? That's where you want to get the level. And I'm sure, fans have been waiting for this for so long.
18 years.
This will be exciting, man. This will be really, really exciting.
Moss Pit will be going.
Yeah.
Our Lady of Peace going. It's all happening.
It's
all here.
This is crazy.
What do we have weather-wise?
I think it's pretty
21 degrees. 21. Right now it's only 14. It doesn't look like there's supposed to be any rain today. That's fantastic.
I might mow my lawn.
21 at 6 o'clock tonight.
Oh, that's good.
It's going to be beautiful out in the city of Edmonton. Finally, although Saturday, 16, increasingly cloudiness. Ugh, I just want a good weekend.
I know. It's trust me, though. Once we get to summer, it'll...
Yeah, but I want it a little earlier because once summer comes, it's almost over.
I don't... Yeah, I know.
Our summers are so short.
I know. Especially
it's almost
hockey going this long. It's going to be... Like, I was thinking about that, too. Like, this series, when it eventually ends, like, it's... Dusty said it, the Hlinka thing's in August.
Yeah.
It's only like a little over a month away. And then after that, then we're probably talking about line combinations already for preseason or free agent signings. Free agency is right after this, the draft, everything. It's going to the Stanley Cup Finals really shortens the...
It also sucks because once it's the summer, it's the longest day of the year.
Yeah, I know.
And it's all downhill from there.
Yeah, I know. I hate that.
It's the saddest part of it all is that you get that and you're like, look how beautiful it is. Look how sunny it is. It's so late. And then all of a sudden, but now it's just going to slowly get less and less and less and less.
I took my dog for a walk. I think I was doing some work or whatever. I go, I got to go to bed. I take my dog. I go out. It was like 10:30 and it was still light out. It was just...
See, and that's back to the Panthers. J-Dub needed to also just have issues with their curtains.
Right.
So that they couldn't come down on the Panthers. That's what they... Yeah, I want those things to happen sometimes. It's where we're also... I don't know what's going on with your guys' curtains. It only comes down halfway. It stops at this one moment. Unfortunately, you're going to have to live with it.
And maybe,
good luck going to bed tonight.
You know what? Maybe there's something to that a little bit in that respect. Being that so close to the equator, I'm sure in Miami, the sun probably goes down at what, like 6, 7? It never changes.
8:13 is sunset there.
Yeah, so...
Edmonton sunset right now is 10:04.
So they get
in. It's a 2-hour difference.
They get in at 8, probably thinking it's like 3 o'clock in the afternoon.
Yeah.
Right. So there might be something there.
And as it drops, like sunsets 10, it's light out till 11.
Yeah, easily.
And with where they are in the J-Dub, depending where you're going, you could still see light all night. You could just see in the horizon. There's always just a little bit out there. And
J-Dub, make sure those rooms are facing south.
North.
South.
It depends what. Like, do you want it for the morning or for the night?
Night. So
no, north, because it's northwest. It's that way.
Oh, okay, right.
Because that's the way I look too. That's where the sun sets, and it'll rise northeast in a sense. So you want them facing the northwest, and then screw up their curtains. Yeah. Unless you want them to wake up earlier in the morning, then you put them on the northwest side, and then the sun. Because what time would be sunset there, or sunrise? Sunrise and sunrise. What is it? 6:29 a.m. What do we have here?
Oh, it's early. It's like 4 something, isn't it? 4:35.
Edmonton sunrise. 5:04.
Okay.
So it's in 4 hour.
Yeah.
It's starting to be light out and stuff. So if their curtains weren't working in the morning, it'll just start being light a little bit earlier, and they'll be messed with them.
Just the automatic ones that you just press, and all of a sudden they just.
Somebody in the J-Dub reception just clicking a button. I was also saying that they need to. This is full soccer, because this has happened to Canada soccer and like Honduras and stuff. You tell them, I don't know, something's wrong with the elevators today. You're going to have to take the stairs. I'm sorry. Sorry, you're going to have to take those stairs.
And put them at the top.
And make them take the stairs down to the game, and then at the end of the game, also, we got it working. Yeah, there you go, welcome, you know. How did the game go tonight?
That'd be great.
Play those dark arts. Play those type of things. This is the EST Hangout, presented by Two Hoots Hard Iced Tea. We brought the big box here because me and Gage, we just have to. We got to represent the sponsor. Iwanyk, Joaquin Gage, Tom Gazzola was sitting here. That's why we're awkwardly like further apart right now. He went to
go
go
first date right now.
Tommy went to go get Jonathan Torrens and potentially a guest. I don't know where they are right now. So we're just waiting for that. And then we'll finish with the Hangout with Jonathan Torrens for a bit here on the Hangout Live.
What do you think? What do you think the Oilers need? What kind of start are you looking for?
I would like to see the hitting, just to keep the crowd into it, just get that going. I'd like to just see the top players be the top players. Like, I look at when you want to win a title, like, over the course of the season, you often be like, well, Connor and Leon could only do so much. When you get to the final, now it's time for the Stars to shine. Now it's time for the Stars to take over, and I would like to see them just fully take over this series. And at least one of these games, where it's Connor had 4 points, Leon had 3 points. And look at this. We've got people. We'll make this work awkwardly. We'll do it. No, you can still take that one. Tommy will come in. Are we all coming in? Alice is here too. Perfect. You 4 could come in. I will set everything up properly, and then I will add a 5th mic after. So come on over. I'm Iwanyk.
Jonathan.
Nice to meet you. Good. Come on over. Grab one of these seats. We will. We'll pass. Tommy, get on over here. Oh, no, we're live. We're live right now, actually. Yeah, we're live on YouTube and EdmontonSportsTalk.com. So there we go. Love that. So you take one of those headsets. Tommy, you grab a headset. Come on over here, Tommy. The Gager will come over here. Come on over, Tommy. My headset's off. I'm live. Okay, that's your water. There we go.
This is the best.
Oh, good morning. Here we go. I told everybody that you guys were showing up. Here you are. You said you come with fresh intel.
I come with so much fresh intel.
Let's go.
I'm going to start with a lateral story.
Please.
A couple of weeks ago, I was in a place and I was lucky enough to see Coach K give a keynote speech. And he talked about when he was coaching the American Olympic team, and he had all these superstars, Kobe and LeBron, and how he encouraged them to be teenagers when they went up to their rooms. It was because he had laid out the Olympic American jerseys on their beds.
Right.
And he wanted them to experience that as teenagers. So I'm allowing myself to experience being here as a teenager.
That's so nice.
15-year-old Jonathan is freaking right now.
Wow.
Like being here with you guys, being here on this day, being here in this town at this moment. And I just got a peek behind the curtain over at Rogers' place. We saw Ron McLean. We saw James Duthie. We saw Dregs. Saw David Amber and Kyle.
Yeah.
Like all the superheroes of the hockey universe.
Good dudes.
In their element, which is. I have a bunch of questions for you too. The first one is: has the novelty worn off, or is
Of
this
doing
as cool
this?
for you as it is for us? Just as a fan, as someone who works around the team.
Good question. Like the practices can become redundant, where like the shine wears off. It's 17 years for me now.
Wow.
Well, you and I met like 10 years ago when you came into town.
Yeah,
and I was working for the team.
I remember.
But it is still cool. Like you realize how sweet it is and how fun it is, and you don't. I guess sometimes you get those moments where it's like, hey, I shouldn't be taking this for granted.
Yeah, that's how I feel because this is last time we were here. I legally couldn't drink, so this is such a treat.
It's been a while for you, Alice.
Yeah, 2006. I was 17 and I couldn't drink legally.
What were you doing
I
in the
definitely
2006 Cup run?
I just turned 20, and I think I was going down to White Ave every game day, and it was wild to the point where by the second round we couldn't go out anymore or we could, but I was like, this is getting stupid. And then I remember going to Cancun with my old hockey teammates when the Oilers clinched against the Ducks, and we became friends with Manuel, the bartender, as one does. Mm-hmm. And it was our first night in Cancun, and I remember we were telling him we're from Edmonton, and we talk about hockey and this and that. The next morning, we went for breakfast, and then we showed up at Manuel's bar. He was up the next morning, and he's towel over his shoulder, and he's cleaning glasses, and he goes, "Hey, you guys, isn't that your city?" And it was ESPN Deportes, and they were showing White Ave after the Oilers had clinched in the third round. Yeah, and I was like, oh my God. And he goes, you guys are crazy.
I mean, but also after like 10 years of just sadness, it's
Yeah,
it's just what a treat to have things be nice.
yeah.
You got to remember that sometimes things are awful and that you got to enjoy this part.
Oh, it was so off. I was doing Buffalo radio this morning, and they're like,
never good in Buffalo.
I didn't mean to do this, but I was like, you guys know what it's like in the playoffs. And
Oh dear.
and my buddy Joe's like, Tom, I don't know if you were taking a jab at us, but that was painful. I was like, oh, sorry, I'm so sorry. You guys deserve better.
This is what I hope for the players in this moment because obviously it's easy to put a lot of focus on being down 2 games. They're also playing in the Stanley Cup final in their home city. Like, I hope despite the pressure, they're able to actually stop for a second and go, man, this is pretty cool. And it would seem as though, from a peripheral view anyway, people have smiles on their faces. They seem to be having fun. Everybody seems loose. Mm-hmm. And what's the best way to eat an elephant?
One bite at a
One
time.
bite at a time.
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
Right? Winning 4 and 5 seems insurmountable and daunting. Winning tonight is doable. Winning the first period is doable. So hopefully they're just looking at the first step. You know what I mean?
And
Yeah.
we're TV people. Narratively
Yes.
speaking, being down, too, is a better story.
You can't have a comeback unless you're down.
Yeah, like you would never see an Air Bud movie where it's good for Air Bud the whole time.
Right.
Sometimes Air Bud's got to struggle.
Yeah.
Former Oiler goaltender Joaquin Gage over there. You loving this, hey, Gager?
My son is. Oh,
You can move in.
Yeah, scooch over. And Matthew's just reshuffling everything to get everybody in. He's going to hop in as well. Yeah. You got room? You guys are okay?
I'm good. My son, I know, is completely jealous because Jonathan, he's a massive fan, and once he sees this, I'm going to be maybe back in the cool books a little
Crazy.
bit. Crazy.
Do you know, it's inconceivable to us because obviously we started doing Trailer Park in the year 2000 and before the Oilers' last Cup run. And so it's sort of in the rearview mirror for me a little bit, but thanks to Netflix, it has come full circle, and each new generation discovers it. And I keep waiting for teenage boys of each new generation to not relate to it because the technology was so different. It looks dated. It looks very of the time, or the jokes won't hold up. But it continues to find new audiences all over the world. And that's the weirdest part. Like people in Peru and Copenhagen going, Bobbles. Makes no sense, but it's awesome.
Well, the fact that you can get weed at the corner store now is a little bit different.
That's probably helped. I've honestly never considered that.
Yeah.
Maybe it makes it okay. But I remember when the show started, it was on BBC America, and the show was bleeped.
Right.
So trying to imagine what a Trailer Park Boys episode was about.
Oh
when it was
my,
bleeped is inconceivable. So people thought it was a documentary, not a mockumentary.
That's so funny.
Okay, I have a question for you and Alice. Alice Moran joining us as well as Jonathan Torrens here on the Hangout, live on location at our downtown headquarters for the day on our amenities floor at mine and Matthew Iwanyk's building right across from Ice District. For you guys in the entertainment industry, you're asking me if the novelty wears off of going to the rink, but like going from what you guys do to a sporting facility, watching athletes, like, do you guys get shocked and in awe because you cross paths with athletes and stuff like that all the time, don't you, every now and then?
I mean, I'm not ever starstruck by like actors or musicians. It's truly only athletes that I have respect for, and I'm including my own father in that. Like, I have no respect for anyone that isn't a professional athlete. So that's the only
This
one.
is a rough way to find this out.
Yeah, sorry, John. I have no respect for any actors, including myself.
I thought you were going to say I have no respect for you, and I'm like,
I don't.
Here? You're saying this here?
Look, I'm a bit messy. Sorry about it. Yeah, no, it is. It's very interesting being in a space where you understand the mechanics of everything that's going around, but it's so outside of your world that you're just sort of excited, and like I feel like we were kind of giddy across the street running into everybody.
I think so too, and because we're actors, and what you do as an actor is kind of collect little tidbits of different people's characters and verbal tics and things like that. I'm curious about people.
Yeah.
So my questions have to do with like, did they fly back after the game on Tuesday or have a good night's sleep and then fly here?
Mm-hmm.
Did they, are they staying in a hotel so that they're together? Or are they going home and feeling all the pressures of like, hey, Dad, can you play with me?
Right.
Not right now. I'm playing in the Stanley Cup. So I'm kind of, you would know better
Gager
than
would
me.
know, yeah.
Yeah, no, my son never wanted to play with me, so it was fine. But it's funny that you say that about meeting idols, because the biggest thing for me is like I'll see Grant Fuhrer and he'll say, "Hey Joaquin, how you doing?" And I'll be like, "I'm fine, Grant," you know. But then I'll run into maybe guys I played with that like Doug Waite and stuff, and like Tommy fanboys over him. But,
I do.
He's just another guy to me.
Yeah.
Right? So it's a little bit different when my idols are always those guys I, as a kid,
Grew up watching.
but then I played with a lot of great hockey players, and where it's funny, I'll see my friends, even Dustin Nielsen. One of my friends, I introduced him to Dusty, and I was like, dude, I played for the Oilers. This is just the radio guy. And he was more gushing over meeting Dustin Nielsen than anything else.
Do you know, here's how fanboy I am, and you obviously have an affinity and affection for the players that were on the team when you were most enthused about it, and for me it was as a kid. I rented an apartment to someone with the last name Fogelin, and I was fanboying over her last name. Like, are you related? And I think it was her great uncle or something. And I was like, no way, that is the coolest.
Oh, that's great.
Like, so inside baseball, that name drop. But it sure meant something to me.
Gager, Jonathan's wearing a Nova Scotia Oilers sweater right now. If people aren't watching and they're listening on our audio stream on TuneIn or iHeartRadio or EdmontonSportsTalk.com's audio player, and of course Apple Music.
Nice reset, Tom.
Thank you.
That was great. If you're just joining us, Jonathan Torrens, Alice Moran on the couch with us for the next 46 minutes.
Yes, exactly. He recognizes it. But Gager, you played for the Cape Breton Oilers, right? Would that be the same, or did they move a little bit around there?
No, they were. I think they were in Moncton first.
Right.
I was with them when they were in Sydney, Nova Scotia, the old Center 200. The biggest thing was the following year they actually built a casino in the rink. So at that time we weren't making much money, and I remember seeing guys that
took their paychecks there.
Oh boy,
one guy. Brent Pope, I remember, because we were playing that day, and he was on what was called a 25 gamer. So he only he was up for a short amount of time, and he just got his check, and he was going towards the casino. And I said, Brent, we got a game. Where are you going? And he held up his check and was like, got to make this thing grow.
Oh, no.
So I think he actually did pretty good. And it was, while you were gambling, it was a free meal, so he didn't have to pay for his pregame.
Well, as I mentioned, we just saw hockey aficionado Ron McLean, and he saw my sweater and said, right, they won the cup in 92. And I was trying to remember I think the Nova Scotia Oilers were 84 to 88, and then I think they moved to Cape Breton, and that's probably where they won. When did you play there?
2 years after. Or no, they won in, what was that?
Do you want me to look it up?
They won after you left?
No, before I got there. There was that was a unique team, a very unique team. Like the guy, Dan Curry, 50-goal scorer, his puck was actually up in the bar, Smooth Herman's.
I was going to ask you if you ever went to Smooth Herman's.
Of course I went to Smooth Herman's. It was the only bar in Canada open till 4.
Yeah. It boasts original carpet.
Oh, yeah.
And your sneakers would stick to the draft foam, like draft foam belch embedded in the carpet.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, actually, it was a workout afterwards. It was like riding the bike after a game. You just had to go there and dance because the floor was so sticky.
It was a different time.
Someone texting and asking, is that a Ralph Intranuvo hoodie? You played with Ralph, Joaquin.
Ralphie, yeah, I did play with Ralphie. He was great. Peter White. Who else played? Oh, Tyler Wright. And the first year, it was David Oliver, Todd Marchant. We were all living at the Holiday Inn. Very unique time. It was the first lockout year. So, and actually the one we had a Russian guy. It was a little bit different back then, but his name was Roman Oksuda. And one day Roman was just gone. We didn't know where Roman went.
Working on the fishing boats?
No, he called himself up. He said he showed up. The Oilers were somewhere, and he showed up with his gear. Like everything was gone. So we was like, we thought he went back to Russia or something.
Isn't that weird?
He went up there and said, "Yes, I'm done in minors. I'm good.
I play here now.
I play here now."
The balls on that maneuver. Oh my gosh.
And then he met us back in Rochester, and it was like he felt shame. But no, that was it was a different time in the minors. A lot of fun though. The American League was. I mean, now it's a young players league. Back then you had lifelong minor leaguers that lived like Jody Gage, one of the all-time American Hockey League scorers in Rochester, but I have the same last name. Big joke my first year pro was I didn't have any sticks, and then the trainer came in and said, "Yeah, your sticks came in, but they're the wrong hand." I was like, "What?" But I got Jody Gage's sticks, and I'm a goalie, so they didn't really work out.
Yeah.
My goodness. Okay, what else? You guys, were you guys watching the game tonight? How excited are you? How are you nervous? How do you guys handle a game day in the Stanley Cup final with your team in it?
Never done it before, but I want to walk you through how I got here.
Okay.
Every year I've thought, if they get to the next round, I'm going to go. If they get to the next round, I'm going to go. I ran out of excuses this year, and my wife, perfect human, was like, "I think you got to go. You will never regret going." And I was like, you know what? In the same way my kids will never get to go to university because I paid to come out here this week. Last night, I had an Airbnb. Alice has heard the story twice now. I had an Airbnb. It has fobs and a dial-in code on the door.
Yep.
I came down to Roger's place because I wanted to see it at night, took the fobs, didn't bring my phone, got back, couldn't get in my place.
No.
So I thought, I'm going to go to a hotel, and I'm going to ask them to use the business center. I'll log into my Airbnb, and I'll be able to sort it out. They said yes, JW Marriott. I logged into my Airbnb. It says we're going to send a code to your email. I go to my email. It says we're going to send a code to your phone. I was in this matrix of tech nightmareness. So I said, I think I was kind of snookered. I said, "How much is a room here?" They said $9.99.
Yep.
So I said, "I'll be right back. I'm going to cross the street to the Sandman." It was full. Delta was full. Went back to the JW with my tail between my legs. The room was $9.99, but because I'm a Marriott Bonvoy Rewards member, it was only $9.79.
Oh, nice.
So I had an Airbnb and a hotel room and still no idea how I was going to get into my room this morning to get my stuff, including my phone.
Wow.
Anyway, cheers.
Cheers.
So I'm into this week for about $30K. I'm on a 25 gamer. I'm taking my check to the casino. I need to get.
There's one right next door.
Yeah, I know.
Perfect. Alice, how about for you?
I came straight. I went straight from the airport, from the CBC to the airport in Toronto because I'm writing on a radio show called Because News, and this week I'm writing and next week I'm on. And as I was leaving, everyone said, "Oh, I hope you don't get swept while you're there because you got to do the show next week." And so they're really already letting me know that if things don't go well, I'm just going to get roasted on the radio, like national radio next week, which is like, what a fun amount of pressure for a situation I have zero control over.
Yeah, no big deal. It's not like you're playing or anything,
yeah,
right?
Yeah, they're really, I don't know if you guys know this, but Toronto's kind of rude.
Have you met Vancouver fans?
Yeah, actually, I would say that everyone I know from Vancouver has been way nicer this playoffs than everyone from Toronto. Because Vancouver's like, "Hey, that was a great series. That was really fun to watch. I hope you guys win. Because then if we lost, they've been lovely." All of the Leafs fans I know are like, "I hope you die. I hope all your joy turns to ash. You're a bad person." And I'm like, "Oh, okay. Thanks, Mom."
Wow.
Yeah. I wish you'd never been born.
Yeah, well, she says that to me all the time.
This was some intel and unique perspective that, once again, hockey aficionado Ron McLean just shared. I was talking about the Panthers not traveling on Tuesday and choosing to travel yesterday. He thought it might be strategy because of the fact that we're 2,300 feet above sea level here. And if you delay arriving into this climate, you don't need to acclimatize as much, and it might have less of an impact on you.
Really?
Interesting take.
Yeah.
I was also like, what are the refs doing today? Do they have a shutdown in the afternoon? Where would they go for lunch? Like, every fiber is open. I'm just absorbing
They're at Cactus Club or Joey.
They're at Earl's.
They're at
Earl's.
Boston Pizza.
Maybe a Boston Pizza. Yeah, exactly.
A pitcher of Long Island iced tea and a little shutdown in the afternoon.
Yeah, fishbowl of whatever.
But by the way, think of the pressure on them. I wanted to do a reality show called The Ref, because what other job in the world is there where just by showing up at work you get booed by 30,000 people?
Oh, CBC Radio.
Yeah, exactly. There aren't 30,000 people listening, Alice.
But like, there's a lot of people tweeting that I shouldn't have a job.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Mom. Again, it's just your mom.
It's my mom.
With a burner account on Twitter.
You know what? She's not even good at making names. They're just all at mom.
Yeah.
Oh,
at
my.
Alice's mom.
This sounds like Canucks fans on a post-game show in Edmonton.
Oh, God.
They're vicious. They sound like your mom.
Do they? They just show up and light you guys up?
Oh, yeah. They love to... They're trolls, and they're really good at that, so I'll give them credit. Okay, I've got...
You're going to do a reset?
No, you did a reset. You did a great reset.
I want to know what you guys think the Oilers have to do to win tonight's game.
There we go.
We've been talking about this. I want to hear your guys' perspective.
I mean, game one, I can't blame them because, Bobrovsky just put on a clinic. Like, when you get goalied, you get goalied. But I feel like game two, there was just a little bit of, well, we were good last time, so we deserve to win. I just think they can't take it for granted. I think every opportunity has got to be capitalized on.
Yeah.
I was thinking about the fact that my Oilers fandom is fairly well known, and the number of people that congratulated me on us getting to the Stanley Cup.
You played well.
It does sound absurd, but at the same time, I do think the crowd will inevitably be one of the most important factors tonight. I think that emotion will be evident, and you would know better than me. Does that make it harder to settle into? Or is that extra fire, or a bit of both?
No, I think at this point it just you're already so jacked. You've been dreaming about since you've been on the front driveway of your home, scoring in Game 7. And this is the stuff of lore, and the chance of immortality, of putting your name on that thing is just, I don't know how you contain themselves, and then you come out and the roar. And the stuff.
For Our Lady Peace, you mean?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, I know you and Tags have done the podcast forever. I was thinking, I'm like, well, J Roc's coming to town.
Yeah.
Our Lady Peace is playing the party outside after or before Game 3.
It's true.
And I was like, oh, weird, right?
So I did Trailer Park Life, which uses a sample of an Our Lady Peace song, Life. And I was trying to imagine, because my Game 7 breakaway is, if OLP asked me to perform with them, would I do Oiler Park Life or Sherwood Park Life? And there's an argument for both.
Which way are you leaning?
I'm leaning towards they're not going to ask. But I did wonder this morning as I woke up at 2, 3, and 4 to remember how much I'd paid for the room that also wasn't my Airbnb. I wondered, if you're McDavid, can you sleep through the night last night?
I would think so.
Really? You don't think
Gage,
you're
I think they're different than we are, right? Like, when you train your whole life for something, you're ready for it. It's the way that you and I don't get nervous in front of a room full of people when we have to do jokes, when that's literally most people's worst nightmare is public speaking.
Right.
The thing that you are ready for, you are ready for. And unfortunately, mine is improv, which is so useless.
Mine's hosting, also useless. Especially when you live in the country, when people are like, I'll
Guys,
do your electrical if you do my hosting.
Stop telling people that, because we want to get paid.
Oh, yeah, it's true. Can I ask you a question?
Yeah, go.
Early start today, how much does that mess with routine and systems and pacing yourself? Would you get up that much earlier so you still have the same amount of runway?
No, because it's 6:30, 6:05 start.
Yeah, it's not going to be.
It's only
6,
an hour.
It's gonna be a little bit later.
Yeah, it's only an hour difference. So you're not really. It's the 2 o'clock, the 1 o'clock. That's where it would all. I hated those games because my whole routine was completely shot. I didn't know what to do.
Like you're just getting home from Smooth Herman's and you have to put the pads on.
Exactly. And then you got to stop at the black awning Tim Hortons. That's the one that they smoked at.
Yeah.
So you'd go in there and get a quick nicotine hit without having to smoke one.
Do you know, Cape Breton's the first place I ever heard Jesus used as an adjective. I was working on a show called Pit Pony, and the driver, I said, can we slide through Tim Hortons drive-through? And he said, we should be all right. We have enough time as long as no one orders a Jesus bagel ahead of us.
What?
Because it takes long to toast. That would set us back 3 more minutes. Like, it's supposed to be just coffee and tea through the drive-thru. Don't be getting a Jesus bagel.
I thought it was a Jesus bagel because of the hole in the middle.
Yeah.
Which is all bagels.
Was it in Cape Breton where someone saw Mary in the window of a Tim Hortons? There was a movie about it that my friend Josh McDonald wrote years ago.
Actually.
Yeah.
Oh, my.
He said, trying to wrestle the conversational ball back from Alice.
No, yeah, don't let me talk, guys. It's always going to be
No, this
bad.
is going good. It's the EST Hangout on location just outside of Ice District. Tom Gazzola, Joaquin Gage, Jonathan Torrens, Alice Moran as we get set for Game 3 of the Stanley Cup Final. Text us, 780-218-9999. I don't have eyes on the nasty chat, so I can't see what's being said there.
Oh, no. What's being said?
Are they enjoying it? Are they
bad?
laughing? Okay, no, it's probably good. Here's one. It says, Tommy, can you ask Jonathan if we can get a ERP? And no, I'm saying.
Pace. How cool was Mike Clanberg, the creator of Trailer Park Boys, who you worked with on Crawford at
Glad
CBC?
he's the nicest guy.
He's the nicest guy, and also just had that extra layer of comic genius. So
Yeah.
I often say Ricky and Randy would do a scene, and it's funny, and the words are funny, and the performances are good, and Clanberg would say, let's do it again, but Randy has a bag of sour cream and onion chips, and Ricky's trying to get them from him. Same words, same action, just that extra layer made it a rocket ship.
And Alice, you were working with Gavin Crawford, right? He was from 22 Minutes.
Yeah, I work with Gavin. I just thought, we're working together on Because News right now.
And like, what's that like? Because I remember 22 Minutes, and I thought he was hilarious. Obviously, 22 Minutes is 22 minutes, but like.
For the last month of writing, every week, I've come in and they've been like, oh, are you going to write about the Oilers this week? And I go, I want to wait. I think we're going to go further. We're going to go further. We get in this week, and I'm like, hell yeah. I'm writing about the Oilers for CBC Radio this week. It's so exciting. Gav comes in and goes, I watched a game last night. I'm going to write the Oilers round. And I was like, what? You don't know anything about it? And he's like, the game is that we're playing. I can't say what we're doing on the radio, but he had it was a very good bit. And I was like, I guess I'll write about the Olympics.
He mowed your grass, your Oilers grass.
No.
But also I was like, Gavin, it's Pride Month. It's rude that you would take this from me. It's all I have. He's a delight, though, and everything he does. Every time he has an idea, it's better than the one I had, because the one I have is very convoluted.
Oh, he's one of those guys.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
And also, all my things are things you can't say on the radio, so I don't know why they keep bringing me back.
You can say whatever you want. I'm just giving you the green light here. So.
Oh, no. You say that, and then 2 minutes later, everyone in the room is crying.
There's an HOA meeting in your building.
Everyone.
How did this happen?
Yeah.
The board is convened during Game 3.
I don't think people realize that I'm just a genuinely terrible person.
Oh my. I think you're great. I'm loving it. Yeah, you'll fit right in. That's great. Okay, let's get to some more text here. Kev says, Tommy, ask Jonathan which character he has enjoyed playing the most. That's from Penner's Pancakes. Rock pile baby, he adds at the end.
I think, thanks for the question. I think one of the things that has allowed me to have a career, not just a role, is that I've kind of jumped, like swung from vine to vine and not overstayed my welcome anywhere. So the most recent one, well, there are a couple. There's Rémi Nadeau, who's on Shoresy. I took French's immersion in Nova Scotia's. And so I played a characters on Shoresy who talk like this, which they have weird plurals. Can I have 2 hot dog and 1 ketchup? So I got to be Rémi Nadeau with Jacob Tierney, who was Benoit Benny Brodeur.
Wow.
And you kind of know shows starting to hit when people are like, could you record a thing as Rémi Nadeau for my friend whose birthday it is? So I've been doing a lot of Rémi Nadeaus recently. Also played a character called Wade on our show Volleys on Bell 5 TV1, who's a combination of Thomas Hayden Church and a pool cleaner from the Lowe's in Coronado, just outside of San Diego.
It's very
his
funny.
face is like this, and his voice is like this. Like, he's one of those guys who's cleaning the pool.
Yeah.
You couldn't punch the smile off his face. He's won the lottery at life. Surfs in the morning, cleans a few bugs out of a pool, eats a few leftover fries that the seagulls don't get, and he's happy as a clam. I just was really inspired by his affection for life.
Oh my goodness, that kind of had like a Californians vibe too to it.
Yeah,
That's big in our house right now.
Is it?
What are you eating in your street?
I remember being like when Valley Girl became like a very big thing. Me and all my friends from Red Deer really tried to sell that was our vibe. We're cool, we're very cool California girls. We definitely don't just live in Red Deer. No friggin' way.
Red Deer.
Like, no, we're like, definitely we can get tens. There isn't any sun right now.
Do you have a Red Deer accent?
I don't.
Because there is
but
an Alberta accent.
There is an Alberta accent,
Yeah.
and I didn't realize I had it until I shot this like major campaign for the Ontario Lottery Corporation, and they were super excited about it. And then they had me in to do the radio spots, and I get 2 words in, and I can see in the room that everyone's panicking, and they're talking for like 15 minutes, and then they finally come out and they go, Alice, where are you from? And I'm like, oh, Alberta. And then they take their finger off the button, and I can see the words they're mouthing. It's like a bunch of things. And then I was like, well, just tell me what word am I saying that sounds super Alberta to you? And they go, it's the word Ontario. And I'm like, oh yeah, you're done. I am the face of the Ontario Lottery Corporation, and I can't say Ontario like someone from Ontario.
I know that for a fact that whoever did the voiceover at Shoppers when you're checking out was from Alberta, because it's first of all it's 18 dBs too loud, and like you don't want to hear like
dare you?
Lux, $18.99 as you're scanning things like beside people. But she also says don't forget to scan your Optimum card. And every time she says scan, I'm like, I know exactly where you're from.
South Calgary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I also know from being on the radio, I have hosted on CBC radio as well. And I remember getting an email from someone that said, you tell the guy who's guest hosting that it's Alberta with a T, not Alberta with a D. That's the CBC listener right there.
Oh, boy.
You know what I should do is take 9 minutes and email Buddy from Street Sense and blow him up about his pronunciation of Alberta.
Nobody from Alberta says Alberta.
No,
Exactly.
It's D. It's
No
like
one from Toronto says Toronto.
Oh, hello, I'm from Toronto. No one does that.
Yeah.
Everyone's a garbage person say, I'm from Toronto. I'm from.
Yeah. Like Edmonton is Edmonton. It's Edmonton.
See, speaking of French, I love in Air Canada when they try to francophonize English destinations.
Oh, yes.
Mesdames et messieurs, bienvenue à Edmonton. Like, no, it's Edmonton in French and in English, and it's not Calgary either.
Our flight attendant last night did not speak French at all, and it was to the point where, like, first of all, no one on this flight to Edmonton speaks French, so she doesn't need to do it. But
Unnecessary.
She's like, Madame et Monsieur, nous don't loving. It was nonsense. At one point, I was like, I think she's just going, like, doing an impression of Pangu. Like,
Chris Farley show. Mesdames et messieurs. Oh, damn it.
Dr. and Mrs. Vander Tramp. Like, just nonsense
Just stop.
French. Pamplemousse. She may as well have just said pamplemousse 6 times in a row, and I would have been like, oh, fasten my seatbelt. Thank you. Merci, madame.
It would actually be great if it's like, ladies and gentlemen, welcome aboard. Mesdames et messieurs, regarde mes pantalons. I don't think that's a translation.
Mesdames et messieurs, c'est l'Halloween. C'est l'Halloween. Hey, c'est l'Halloween.
It's Halloween.
C'est l'Halloween.
I think that actually, I started that, and I'm like, I'm pretty sure Say Halloween is like Eastern Canadian.
Is it?
Yeah, I don't think that plays out here, because I went to French immersion here and I didn't know. And then I moved to Ontario and I was like, you got to learn about Say Halloween. It's our favorite thing. And I was like, this is...
So in French immersion in Alberta, is
Yes.
it Loilers?
I don't know.
I don't remember. I was in French
Bonne chance,
immersion.
Loilers.
I was in French immersion when Quebec was like, had the referendum. And I remember the English kids in like our school were like, you guys are traitors. And I was like, I'm not French. I'm from here. And like, whatever.
I was also in French immersion. That was what, 93?
Yeah, it was super weird because I'm like 5 and everyone's like, why do you hate Canada? I'm like, because people yell at me when I'm on the bus? What's happening? It's bad enough that my last name is almost Moran. I don't need this.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Edmonton Oilers. Mesdames et messieurs, les Oilers de Edmonton. There's only one. Les Oilers.
Oh, my God. 780-218. We're having too much fun. Pat in the county says this is amazing. 780-218. $99.99. This text comes in, says, Tommy, did J Roc comb his hair with Joaquin's hairbrush?
Fair.
Oh, hey.
What the heck?
That's fair. I'm going to tell you something about the internet service and the discourse in the public right now.
Yes.
It has become a town square for dickery.
Yes.
And I'm going to tell you something. This is my forehead. I don't have a receding hairline. This is just what I got.
You have very good hair.
And my hair is also the same color as my scalp. Also, I don't have eyebrows if we're sharing. But recently,
You do.
I shared a
Kind of.
photograph of my wife and I after a fun night out. It was like, hey, my wife and I had a nice time. It was like the back page of Us magazine where people are like, why would you wear that? Why is she with you? More like five head. Like, if you're going to come for me, at least try to come up with something
creative.
original.
Yeah.
That was a nice photo. I went and clicked on it.
Thanks, bud.
I
Yeah.
mean,
Imagine I read through the comments and was like, that was you that said that about the watermelon head.
I once
Oh
had a
my.
guy who DM'd me a picture of his junk and then said, "You're very ugly." And then 20 minutes later, a follow-up says, "Please don't show anybody my dick."
Did he spell
That's-
your properly? Because that
He
would be the
did.
most offensive.
He did. So I'm like, okay, well, this guy's medium smart, but also gonna show everybody. It's real bad.
Oh, no.
I
He did it to
don't
himself.
understand that instinct to send a picture of your horn to someone you don't know.
It's never a guy with a good horn. Yeah. It never is. It's always,
It's never
always,
a Matterhorn.
It's always like somebody who squeezes toothpaste in the middle and it's like, why is it so skinny in the middle? What happened here?
That happens.
Apparently, because that is everything that I've ever seen in my. I had to delete Twitter because my DMs were just that.
Oh, my God.
Is that what the D in DM stands for?
Yeah. It's dong messages.
He's just teasing you, he says.
I know. He's just yanking my bird.
Oh.
But it did remind me of this recent experience that I've had where I think it's the age-old thing that it's so easy to type something that you would never say to someone's face. And I do have a complicated relationship with social media for that very reason. Because it's still the best way to say, hey, I have a thing Saturday, or I'm going to do this. Look, this new show is out. But also, you're opening yourself up to criticism.
Yeah.
As you guys know.
Oh, yeah.
And sometimes I'm like, sorry, why would I do this?
Yeah, it's very weird when you're just like, hey, I'm having lunch with my grand. And then someone's like, I want to stab you. And you're like, well, this feels like a not me thing.
It's also a place to point out the exception to the rule when you're just saying the rule. Like, nice day. It's not a nice day for everybody, J Roc. You ever think of that? Like, okay.
Yeah, well, you really set yourself up there.
I do.
You rubbed in
Good
your
morning.
beautiful
What about
day.
the people that are having a bad morning? Okay.
Sorry. Cole Harbor Joe texting and says, this has been the best hangout. Shout out JT. I went to Cole Harbor High when he shot an episode of Street Sense there.
Nice.
East Coast love. Someone texted in yesterday when we announced that you guys were hopping on today. Do you remember how much air is in a bag of potato chips?
Yes. Do you know why they asked that? I knew it was time to
No.
leave Street Sense the third time I did the hard-hitting expose about the amount of air in chip bags, because our audience would roll over every couple of years. So the new audience would write in, it's a good question for Street Sense. Why is there so much air in chip bags? It's the grammage is there if you put it on a scale. It's so they don't break in transit.
Right.
So big chip would have you believe.
Really stick it to Lay's today.
Yeah.
Joelle says that's exactly how they sound in Ontario. So she's listening in Ontario.
I think I more or less have an Ontario accent now. It's only when I do any kind of radio things that people immediately go, "What is that? Why does she sound like that?" She said pillow weird. What's up? What's up with her?
They have a weird accent.
They do.
I'm going to stand up for us here in Berta.
Yeah,
What
they
is
have
it?
a weird. They also,
like-
especially the closer you get to the border, some people start to have like
Ew.
the Buffalo North Tonawanda. Oh, we're gonna go down to a Sabres game, and you're like, what is
Yes.
that?
That's like Fargo-y.
Yeah,
But
but
it-
that's what my
that's Buffalo.
stepdad sounds like.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, I friggin' love your mom. She's a great lady. It's really beautiful, but I'm also like, that's a silly accent.
East
It
Coast is known for two things. One is the inhale, yeah, because people are afraid of the silence and what it might reveal. So you would say, Alice, yeah, how you doing? Yeah, yeah, you going to the Oilers, playing good night. Yeah, like no silence ever.
You sound like someone doing phone sex.
I know, talking while inhaling. And the other one, I call it the Arias sandwich. Arias, going to the game tonight, Arias?
Oh.
Arias at the beginning and end of every sentence. Arias Oilers fans, Arias?
I was gonna say Alberta, a lot of oh yeah for sure.
Oh, yeah, for
for sure.
Or yeah, no.
But
Yeah,
no,
whereas
there's a bunch of
Ontario's
us
more,
there.
oh yeah, no for sure.
Yeah.
You throw the no in there in Ontario, which
Yes.
makes it a nonsense sentence because at that point you're like, what are you even saying?
Can I ask you
Gibberish.
another question?
Go for it.
I want to peek behind the curtain. I have friends that have worked at breweries, for example, and they might get a case of beer every Friday after retirement till the end of their life. Do you pay for tickets to the games? Do you get to go wherever you want? Like, are you a family member for life?
I'm more so able to go because of my work here, because I have a press pass.
Yeah.
They give us the
You get
opportunity
alumni
to go.
hookups.
There is perks. I don't abuse it. I have used it and snuck in for a sec here
Yeah,
or
heck
there,
yeah.
but that's basically it.
So could you sneak into a Nelly concert?
Maybe.
Why Nelly?
I don't know.
Jonathan, why Nelly?
Well,
of all
I was just
people?
trying to think like the most anti-hockey experience. Like, couldn't you get into the Wiggles?
Oh yeah, well I can see why Nelly is because hockey is ice and Nelly is hot in here.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
opposite.
That
You
they
got
don't
it.
they don't
Perfect.
work.
If I put a Band-Aid on my face, maybe. But we used to get the NHLPA membership cards, and then you could kind of flash those. Those were good for like the Roxy in Vancouver and stuff like that.
Cool.
You could get into there, but no, I'm not really. I wasn't able to pull my weight, so to speak.
We have ACTRA cards for the Actors Union.
They
That
do nothing.
gets us in.
They don't
nowhere.
get you into bars?
They get me nothing.
At
When I-
participating Applebee's, you can get an upgrade to a side salad.
Having an actor card just means you have bad credit. Like that's it.
Yeah.
No actor has like a good. They're
It's a
like,
bad
yeah,
credit
things
card.
things are good in my life as a Canadian actor.
Can't you double up your Marriott Bonvoy and get another $20 off?
Yeah.
At least like a complimentary breakfast.
By the way, just as my one little act of rebellion, I did not check out this morning. I have the keys in my back pocket, and it's mine till 11:30.
Okay,
She was like, "Do you want a bottle of water?" I was like, "You're friggin' right, I do." A $979 bottle of water.
My gosh.
IMAX says, OMFG, never a good horn. This epi is Lemaire.
The mayor.
And then Kev says, Dusty in the nasty chat, Dusty Nielsen, our morning show host, is asking about Noah Dick. Can you give us the background on that?
Very
and
good.
someone's
Gosh.
like, Anita Dick, please, now.
Anita Dick, please. So Jared Kiso grew up in Listowel, Ontario, and his dad owned, his family owned a lumber mill, and there were a lot of Mennonites in their community. So he really wanted to pay loving tribute to all the residents of this fictitious town of Letterkenny based on Listowel. My only thing was, I'm running out of ways to look unrecognizable on TV. So even though it's not technically a Mennonite thing to have an underbeard, I really love the idea of an underbeard and glasses to try to be the least amount of, if you're Buddy from Jonovision trying to play a character, it's hard to buy that.
Right.
So I wanted to have an underbeard, even though that wasn't technically true. The idea is it's a dick spelled with a Y joke, that if Noah's in on it, the second he's in on it, it's just gross and crass. So as long as I can play it straight, with Sarah Wayne Callies, who's phenomenal. She
Yes.
plays Anita Dick from Prison Break and
Yeah.
Walking Dead,
Yes.
and one of the premier television directors in North America, and also just a terrific person. She lives in BC, as a matter of fact.
Wow.
So she obviously works at a very high level, and I'm used to kind of improvising. On a show like Letterkenny, they do a 7-page scene as a oneer. Like at the produce stand, the camera's just going back and forth. So as you get to page 3, page 4, all you're thinking is don't be the dick with a Y. That blows it for everyone because you have to go back to the start. So there's, it's easy to not laugh. People often ask, how do you not laugh? 'Cause
Yeah,
it's
that's
so
what I was
funny.
going to ask.
It's because
Stress, just pure stress.
You're just
Oh.
trying to not be the person that blows it. And the one thing I will say about Michelle and K-Trav and Nathan and Jared, who might do, it's called block shooting in TV, so they might do 6 produce stand scenes back to back.
Oh.
my
And
Wow.
really, in your mind, you can sort of remember, okay, this is the scene in the kitchen. I think I know the words for that. And this is the scene in the tractor. I know that. But other than this is the scene about gum, this is the scene about sinks, this is the scene about baseball, they don't really have anywhere to kind of file folder those scenes. So they are incredible because it's
Yeah.
almost like a play. They do, like I said, a 7-page wide shot, and they rarely blow lines. It's quite something.
Oh my God! Even when I was in plays, I didn't know all the lines.
Yeah.
How do you handle? I'm always amazed by like actors remembering lines. Like, are there tricks that you guys work on and
improv.
teach yourself?
Yeah, I can just get myself out of trouble. I know people who have to like sit down and memorize for days, and I'm kind of a person, I can look it over twice and I'll have 90% of it, but I am not a word perfect actor. Which is why I'll never do Shakespeare, because I can't just throw the word bud in every once in a while to buy time. Like, to be or not to be, bud.
I don't know.
I want Valley
differ.
Red Deer Girl.
I would like to see that.
Yeah, just like throw it in. But I'm just I'm lucky in the sense that it's easy for me. I don't know about you.
I did a play for the first time since high school last fall. And it was called The Play That Goes Wrong, and I did it at Neptune Theatre in Halifax. And luckily, it was an ensemble piece, and I was supported by people who do this for a living and were great. But in this particular thing, the set kind of implodes every night, so there are specific audible cues that people are waiting for to like make a flat fall over, something like that. So I'm used to sort of, if you say the general idea and then leave when you're kind of supposed to, it'll probably be fine. But the difference between bye now and see you later was actually kind of life and death. That added a layer for sure.
Shoot.
I saw a really weird tape. I got a concussion on stage once
How?
in front of 2,000 people. Well, can I? I'd have to say a pretty awful thing on the radio. Can I?
Go, yeah.
Okay.
Green
so
light. Matthew.
I was in a parody of
Yeah,
50
it's
Shades
digital.
of Grey,
Yeah.
and I was pretending to eat ass. And what happens is Pat, the other actor, he does a handstand, and I catch his legs in the dark. And
Thornton?
then, Pat Whalen. He's a Nova Scotia boy, good Nova Scotia boy. Anyway, I catch his legs
Yeah.
and the legs, and then the lights come up, and then I'm just like yum 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 yum. But on this particular night, we were in the Panasonic in Toronto, and IATSE hadn't let us do a Q to Q, so it was darker. So he adjusted in the dark because he thought I wasn't where I was, and he smoked me in the head. And then I've seen the tape.
With what?
His leg.
Got it.
You know what? I don't remember. So maybe, you know what? I'll do Pat the Solid and say maybe. So the rest of the show, I'm like delivering the correct line, but I'm delivering it with the intonation I would usually do for the line that precedes it.
Whoa.
Oh.
And then I got off stage and I threw up, and that was the show my mom came to. So already my mom had to come see me in a show where I did that. But then also my mom had to like come find me backstage, and I was like crying. I was like, I think I need to go to the hospital. And then you go to see a doctor, and the doctor's like, well, what were you doing when this happened? And
How do you
have
explain
to
that?
repeatedly tell a doctor that your job is to pretend to eat ass for a living. That's what I do with my life.
For money.
Yeah, that's what I do for money.
Is that where the song "I Went to the Doctor"? Is that what that's about?
It is about how horrifyingly sad my life is.
Oh, Alice, no. My goodness. If you have a passion for something, pursue it. I think that's the moral of the story.
Is
Me
it?
too.
I feel like as a child, I'm like, I'm going to grow up to be an actress. That's not what I imagined. It's not
Dear
exactly
diary.
it.
I got a concussion. You'll never guess why.
All of the injuries I've had in my life have been truly that stupid. So.
Do you know, it's a lateral story, but in the year 2000, I was the CBC correspondent for the Y2K coverage, and I was in Charlottetown, the birthplace of the country. And this was I just finished Jonovision. It was my chance to be an adult taken seriously as a news person. And I was like, this is it. This is how I'm going to make the jump. Have you heard the story?
No, I don't think you've told me this one.
So in my mind, like, again, Game 7 breakaway, Peter Mansbridge is going to throw to me in Charlottetown. And I rehearsed this thing for weeks. Peter, tonight the eyes of the nation turn to its birthplace, where tonight some 15,000 people are going to descend on the birthplace of the nation, the small island with the big heart cradled in the waves of the Atlantic Ocean, blah, 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 blah.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
So we did the rehearsal, crushed it. We went live. It was a pretty prestigious spot because I was on the East Coast, so one of the first places that Y2K was going to roll over. Peter goes, Jonathan Torrens joins us from Charlottetown now. Jonathan? And I said, Peedle. I choked on his first name, and he laughed, and I panicked and forgot everything I was going to say, and that was it.
No. When you truly blank out on lines, I ruined my Schitt's Creek callback.
No.
So I got in the room, and it was the Alexis Rose, and I was like, I got this. Lights up the first line, and I just go, what's my line? And they go, if you don't know it, you should just go. And I was like,
wow.
I also never had a casting director like not let me start over. So I was just like, oh my God. And then that casting director didn't see me for years.
Were any levies in the room?
No. But like, you know what? I think that's the only time I've really truly.
But honestly,
grown
how
up
big
in an
was that
audition and
show?
It wasn't that bad.
Nobody really has ever heard of
Yeah.
that show. I mean, something bigger will come along.
Yes.
I feel like it's a small audition. I'm gonna kill it every time. It's like, Alice, you're going out for Batwoman. I'm like, get there. I'm like, Joker, don't. Like, it's just immediately something happens in my body where I remember who I am and I can't.
The inner critic.
My goodness. Text coming in says, Jonathan, any good stories from his time on Joe Schmo? Somebody asked me how the guide couldn't figure out that it was all like a ruse.
Yeah. Interesting. I saw that question, Tom, and they cited the star of season 1, Matt Kennedy Gould. That was some of the best TV I've ever seen. That was, if you don't know the reference, it was a fake reality show. So
Yeah,
one guy's
really good.
real,
That was so good.
and all the actors around him are playing stereotypes on a reality show, and he doesn't know. And the idea is at the end, there's a big reveal, like, guess what? This was all kind of an experiment. You're the star of it. Here's an oversized check. So season 2, which I was on, was more in the... Season 1 was kind of Big Brother. Season 2 was more in the Bachelor realm.
Oh, right.
And what we hadn't considered, we being the creators of the show, was that our Joe might actually fall for the actor playing the Bachelorette. So it wasn't quite the, guess what? Isn't it hilarious? We curb stomped your heart. So all I remember in the big reveal moment is he turned to her and was like, what? And all I heard in the silence was an assistant director saying to the headset, hold the balloon drop. Because it was supposed to be this, huh? Hold the balloon drop. We need to figure this out here.
That's damage.
But I'll tell you, it was 24-hour deep cover character acting. That was also in the conversation for one of my favorite characters ever, because the first thing you have to do is remember to turn around when someone says, so Gerald, because that was my name, Gerald. Our Mark was American. The female Mark was as well, so they wouldn't have known me from Jonavision or something.
Right.
She caught on to us right away, and we had to try to figure out if we should bring her into the fold and bring in a new Mark or try to ride the wave. So a total fluke. It would only ever happen in a TV setting. There was a first impression eviction ceremony. The first day we weren't even in the mansion. So our Mark was standing beside a background performer. Her mic battery went dead, and during the changing of the battery, she turned to the person beside her and said, how'd they find you for this? And she said, oh, my agent called me last night. And our Mark had gone through 6 months of psychological training and background checks and stuff like that, so we weren't even in the house, and she was like, agent? She was already onto us.
Damn.
Extras.
Oh, my goodness.
Right?
It's always extras.
Oh, my goodness. We got a text that says, get Alice and Jonathan a show together.
Yeah, let's do it.
I was actually I was talking to Jonathan this morning about a movie I wrote. I'm gonna make him be in a movie I wrote. So.
That'd be awesome.
And I said yes.
Yeah.
You heard it here second.
Yeah. There's no contracts, but we're breaking a story.
That's a
Some
good
minor
name for a
details.
news show. You heard it here second. I was listening to Smartless the other day with Michael Stipe from
Yep.
REM.
Yep.
And he said, if you came here for whatever, you're barking up the right tree. Like, I've never heard that before, and I love you're barking up the right tree.
So good.
It's so obvious. It's a layup, but it's so great.
Okay, Gage, any questions before we get some predictions here for tonight?
No, I just wanted to know everything was answered, actually. How did he not break character on Letterkenny and the Big Brother show? Sorry, the name's escaping.
Joe Schmo.
Joe Schmo, yeah.
That was,
So good.
I laughed so hard. at that.
By the way, the creators of that show went on to do Ryan Reynolds' movie. He's can't see his face.
Deadpool?
Thank you. And also Zombie Town.
no way.
Zombieland?
Yeah.
Great
Wow.
movie. Oh, I love
Rhett Reese
Zombieland.
and Paul
So
Wernick,
cool.
genius creators.
Wow. Wow.
By the way, one last thing.
Yes.
The third season of that show starred William Shatner. They took him to, it's called Invasion, Iowa. You can find it at Shoppers where you scan your Optimum card. It's in the bottom of like DVD barrels. Invasion, Iowa, they took William Shatner and a group of actors as his troupe, like his entourage, to a town in Iowa that was allegedly or purportedly the birthplace of James T. Kirk. And he was making
Riverside,
a
Iowa.
movie. Yep.
Yeah, there's a big tombstone that says James C. Kirk.
Yeah, so it must have been
Wow.
there. And it was all a ruse. Like, they punked a town before punked. And one of the things they did was have promotional hats called Shats. and they got everyone in the town to wear shats.
There's a bar in Riverside, Iowa, where there's a pool table that they say that he's conceived on, and if you walk near it with someone of the opposite sex, they come running and they go, "Don't try to have sex on that. Don't. It's not early enough for you to have
How
James
do you
C. Kirk."
know that?
Because I've been there.
Have you?
Because I toured a touring parody of 50 Shades of Grey where I pretended to eat butt, and I ended up everywhere in America.
Cheers.
Kev says the Oilers simply cannot lose with J Roc and Alice in the house. Tommy, this has probably been the best hangout to date. Great show. Before we get to predictions to wrap things up, Alice, if people are just hearing or seeing you for the first time, where can they find more of you?
Oh, you can hear me next week on CBC Radio on Saturday morning on Because News.
Doing Red Deer Valley Girl?
Yeah, I'm just like absolutely from California. Don't even ask me any other questions about it.
Red Dar.
Red Dar?
Red Deer. Jonathan, you're doing everything and anything. What's the latest project that people can catch you in?
I'm working on a couple of new TV series that haven't been announced yet.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to keep it in the
Big
vault.
timing us.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine.
I'm also, not to brag, but the Grand Marshal of the first ever Nova Scotia Stampede. That happens the last week of September in Truro, Nova Scotia. It's true. I know we're all laughing, but it's true.
That's the way you said Stampede. It's perfect.
I signed up because I'm hoping there's a pancake breakfast. There's one in Calgary, right? A pancake breakfast at the Stampede?
Calgary. Okay, Alice, prediction for Game 3 tonight. Oilers and Panthers. This is why you're here. What do you think?
I'm going to go 3-1 Oilers.
Ooh. You getting a good vibe from the rink this morning?
I got a good vibe. Also, I'm just like praying to every single different god. So I feel like I'm doing my part. I got Odin. We're going to Zeus. We're going everywhere.
Run the table.
Spreading it out. All right, Jonathan.
I'm going to predict that Alice is going to get wasted.
Yeah, that's actually.
Right.
I've already had a shot today.
Yes, our good friend Scott Dodds at Honey Honey provided one.
Yeah.
When I said you guys were coming by.
I've had a shot too. It's a tetanus shot. But I think the Oilers are going to win.
Yep.
I think tonight the floodgates are going to open. I'm going to say 5-1.
Ooh.
Blah, blah.
I like yours better. That sounds like a party.
Yeah.
That sounds like
my
I get
God.
so
I'm
drunk
going to say 3
fly.
plus tax.
Gager, any final thoughts from you?
No, these guys have done it. I don't want to say anything else.
Absolutely masterful. If I may, Jonathan, can you take us out from the EST Hangout, please?
Hey, what's cracking, y'all? It's your boy, You've been listening to The Hangout. Brap, jaya, swoop. Peace. I'm out like Crocs.
Goodbye, everybody.
Let's go. There you go, right in front of the camera.
First-time guest, long-time listener, fan of the original draft commissioner.
Welcome to the EST Hangout presented by